Now, all week, our big tour heads to Hungerford, and with Lambourne just down the road, the town is heavily influenced by the world-class horse racing that makes West Berkshire so famous. Wayne Burton is with me now. He's a former jockey from Hungerford who was paralysed in a riding accident in 2008. He joins me now, fresh from doing something that very few of us would be brave enough to do. He took part in a charity skydive this summer. Good morning.
Good morning.
How did it go?
Very, very good, yeah.
Now, you're a wheelchair user, obviously, since your accident. So how does a wheelchair user do a skydive? How did you get talked into it, or did you want to do it, and what happened?
I got talked into it by my mum. I had other sort of charity things that I wanted to do in a different way. She turned 50, I turned 30 this year.
Woo, you're very old.
So, yeah, she wanted to do a skydive.
Oh, she wanted to do it?
Yeah.
She didn't want to do it on her own?
Yeah, well, she said that she'd like me to do it with her.
Yeah.
So I sort of had a thought about it, and I thought, okay. And it was a good idea, really, to raise money as well for a really good charity.
It's a brilliant idea, but what do you actually do? I mean, if you're a wheelchair user, do you jump in some sort of a special harness, or what?
You jump in the same sort of suit as anyone else. There was a harness that was mentioned, but I didn't use it in the end. Basically, all I had to do was the sleeves on the trousers. I just had to grab hold of just to pull my legs up for the landing. I
was just going to ask you, how on earth do you do the landing? Because I suppose most people, I don't know, how do they teach you to do a deck landing? Never having done a parachute jump myself, I don't know. I mean, if your legs were working, would you be trained to land on your legs and then absorb the fall that way, or do they not teach you?
Yeah,
to do
the instructor lands on his feet.
Yeah.
Different people do it different ways. So some will go on their bottom.
I was just going to say, did you land on your backside?
Yeah, but by the time I sort of landed, they put me on my backside, and then they sort of untouched me. But I was in different mixed emotions when I got down to the bottom.
Well, I was going to say, let's not talk about the landing straight away, because what about when you actually left the aeroplane? I mean, what was it like?
I was sort of nervous / shall I do it? Shall I not? But like I say, it was a great experience. And
did you go up in the same plane as your mum?
Yeah.
Who went first?
I was first.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gosh, very brave.
So there's a picture of my mum sort of just watching me go out with a very gobsmacked sort of face.
Yeah. Was it a great experience? Would you do it again?
I'd definitely do it again.
Would you?
Yes, because I'd probably enjoy it a bit more.
Yeah.
Because didn't really, well, you don't know what to expect. So I felt really ill by the time I got to the bottom. Because I think it was because of...
Just nerves?
Oh, just all different mixed emotions, really. And then sort of a couple of days after, you think, oh, I'd do that again.
Were any of those mixed emotions something to do with the fact that you used to be a jockey, you were paralysed in that accident, and then suddenly you're flying?
Yeah, it's a buzz. And I just love buzzes at different, and I just like to take part in all different sort of things, whether I'm good or bad at them.
Did it give you anything like the same sort of buzz that riding used to give you?
Different, very different, yeah. Riding racehorses was all I knew, because I sort of was taught on ponies as a child with my grandfather and my dad. We broke in a few sort of ponies that had never been ridden before, so we sort of got around that way. Because we couldn't afford to buy our own sort of horses or ponies, so we had to sort of get them on loan and sort of break them in.
Well, we'll talk in a few moments about how you became a jockey in the first place. For the moment, is Wayne Burton, who's a former jockey from Hungerford. I take it you drove before your accident. You were a driver.
Yeah, I drove, but I had to sort of get a bit more tuition when I had an accident.
Well, I was just going to say, what happened then once you'd had your accident and then you became... I mean, I know you had a very tough time after the accident, a long time before you started to be mobile again. But once you were, presumably you can get an adapted car.
Yeah, I've got hand controls, which there's a sort of brake. It's like a push brake, that she uses just by the ignition. And then I've got an O-ring on my steering wheel, which you push in for your accelerator, which is really good. Yeah. But there's all different sort of ways you can do.
Did it take you long to learn how to use that?
It probably took me about 2 months to actually sort of drive, and I was sort of comfortable. So I had to sort of drive slowly. Had a few cars beep at me a few times, but
that happens anyway. I think to absolutely everybody, doesn't it?
Yeah.
They're not very patient, are the people on the road, are they?
It's a bit like myself now.
You're not very patient.
No.
You just want to get from A to B fast. See, you're a young man, and you always have got from A to B fast as well, especially so when you throw yourself out of an aeroplane. But we'll talk more about that. And you were aiming to raise about £3,000, I think, for the Injured Jockeys Fund?
No, to raise for racing welfare.
Racing welfare, yeah. But you managed to get nearly £6,000.
Yeah, just under. Yeah.
So well done. Back in 2008, you were a full-time jockey? And
I was conditional. Started as an apprentice, and then I went as a conditional over jumps.
And you were racing at Exeter, I think, when the accident happened. What did happen? Do you remember?
It was over the first hurdle, and the horse didn't really just didn't pick his legs up at all, and just crashed straight through the top. I don't know whether it was my own fault or, I was only a learner, really, as a conditional, you learn, you're still learning.
And do you remember anything of what happened in the next few seconds?
I was out cold for sort of 25 minutes, and I don't really remember too much of the first of my accident. I would say a lot of probably 3 months was quite vague.
Wow, really?
Yeah.
Where were you taken straight away? Because the accident happened in Exeter, so presumably you were taken straight to hospital in Exeter.
I was in Exeter for about 3 weeks, and they sent for my spinal injury. They sent me to the Royal Bucks in Aylesbury. And in that week that I was there, my salt levels dropped very low in my body, and just made my sort of brain, and I lost speech.
You had a lot of seizures, I think, didn't you?
I had 4 seizures, yeah, and the seizures made me have this injury in my brain, and I lost my speech, and I didn't know where I was, and it was pretty frightening.
It must have been terrifying for your parents too, to think that at one point not only may you not walk again, but you might not actually speak again. But you did regain a lot of mobility, and you obviously have worked very hard and you've regained your speech. How long did that all take?
It took about probably 4 months, probably to put a proper sentence together.
Is that really, really frustrating?
Do
you know in your head what you want to do?
Yeah, but it started off with something like, it'd be shovel, rake, grass, something like that, and they would say which is the odd one out, and you'd be like, no, you wouldn't know, I just wouldn't know, and then you just have to work. That's how I learnt the words again. Sometimes I do struggle, but everyone does, I think.
Oh, absolutely. No, you're doing great right now. How did your family cope? How were you able to cope? I mean, I know that you wanted to raise money for the racing welfare, and Injured Jockeys Fund was able to help you a lot. I mean, in what way can they help? I gather they're brilliant. Everybody says around here that they are brilliant at helping people. The
Injured Jockeys Fund, they've got almaners which cover the whole of the country, and I had one. I had 2 at the time because I had to travel again. They sort of visit you all the time, and if my mum needed to get there, or my dad wanted to get there, or my gran needed to get there, that she would drive them and take them to me.
And they needed that sort of support.
Yeah, I mean, they're absolutely...
So what's life like for you now?
I'm doing quite well.
You seem to be doing very well.
Yeah, my aims of raising money for charity, which is the Injured Jockeys Fund and Racing Welfare, at the top of my list. They always have been since like sort of the last 4 years, because they've helped me so much. I want to help them back.
So if your aims are to raise more money, are you going to be doing any other stunts?
Maybe.
Like throw yourself out of an aeroplane again?
No, probably not that one again. I've done that one.
Yeah. What else? Then?
I've walked in a rewalk suit.
What? Really? One of those things that you, like Wallace and Gromit, that works your legs?
Yeah.
Wow. What did that feel like?
The one that Claire Lomas walked in a marathon with.
Yes.
I walked in that. I don't know, just a week's training.
Was it painful, that, or is it just difficult?
It's very hard work.
Yeah, I bet. Because all of the effort has to come from above your injury.
Well, it's all arms.
Yeah.
It's still arms.
Arms and trunk.
Well, I haven't got no trunk, so I've only got, because my injury's from my nipple down.
Yeah.
So
it's all in that top area, all the strength.
So it's all like the pecs. And
you've got massive pecs if you're underneath that jumper.
I'm not.
Don't worry, I'm not asking you to take it off. No, it's been really great. No doubt we will hear more of your exploits then in the future if you're considering other things. So thanks very much for coming in and telling us about it today.
Yeah, I have a website, which is wayneburton.co.uk, which you can follow me on. And at the moment I'm looking to get a job. That's one of my top on the list.
All right, well, just in case anyone interested is listening who might have a job, what sort of job are you after?
I'm looking into editing and a bit of media. And I also do a lot of fishing, so I compete in competitions.
OK, well, if anyone's listening at the moment who's got that sort of a job, it's wayneburton.co.uk.